A 6-year-old boy was sitting at the kitchen table, staring intensely at a light bulb, when he finally turned to his mother. "Mom," he asked seriously, "is it actually possible for people to eat electricity?" The mother nearly dropped the plate she was drying. "What? No, of course not, honey. Electricity isn't food. Why on earth would you ask something so silly?" The little boy shrugged and looked back at the ceiling. "I don't know. It just sounded like a lot of work." "Where did you even get that idea?" she asked, starting to get suspicious. "Well," the boy whispered, leaning in close, "last night when I was walking past your bedroom, I heard Dad tell you, 'Turn off the light and put it in your mouth.'" The CEO of a massive furniture empire decided to do a walkthrough of the factory floor to show the workers he was still in touch with the grind. He was marching through the sawdust, looking for any sign of laziness, when he spotted a young guy in a hoodie leaning against a crate of mahogany, scrolling on his phone. The CEO turned red. He wanted to show his staff that he didn't tolerate slackers. He marched over, blocked the kid's light, and barked, "You! How much do you make a month?" The kid looked up, a bit startled, and mumbled, About $1,000, sir." The CEO reached into his pocket, pulled out his legal pad, and whipped out a stack of hundreds. He counted out $3,000 and shoved it into the kid's hand. "Here is 3 months' pay," the CEO roared, loud enough for the entire floor to hear. "I don't pay people to stand around and look at their phones. You're finished. Now get out of my factory and don't let the door hit you on the way out." The kid didn't say a word. He stuffed the cash into his pocket, grabbed his bike helmet, and ran for the exit. The CEO turned to his floor manager, feeling very proud of himself. "All right, who was that lazy bum? What department did he work in?" The manager cleared his throat, looking terrified. "That was the delivery kid, sir." In a quiet country courthouse, a flashy lawyer named Mr. Harris was trying to make a big impression. He called his first witness to the stand, a sweet, gray-haired elderly woman named Mrs. Parker. Hoping to show the jury how local and well-liked he was, Harris smiled and asked, "Mrs. Parker, do you know who I am?" Mrs. Parker adjusted her spectacles and nodded. "Oh, I know you, Leonard. I've known you since you were in diapers. And frankly, you've been a massive disappointment. You're a gossip, you cheat on your wife, you manipulate people, and you think you're a big shot just because you have a briefcase. You're nothing but a small-town paper pusher with an ego. Yes, I know you." The courtroom went so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Harris turned pale, his hands shaking. Desperate to shift the spotlight, he pointed a trembling finger at the opposing counsel. "Well, do you know the defense attorney, Mr. Carter?" Mrs. Parker didn't even blink. "I certainly do. I've known Jimmy since he was a boy, too. He's lazy, he's a drunk, and he's got the worst legal reputation in the county. He can't keep a secret or a wife. In fact, he's been having an affair with your wife for the last 2 years. Yes, I know him too." The defense attorney looked like he'd been hit by a freight train. He slumped into his chair, staring at the floor in total horror. The judge, who had been watching this train wreck with wide eyes, leaned over the bench and signaled for both lawyers to come closer. In a low, terrifying whisper, he said, "If either one of you idiots asks her if she knows me, I'll have you both in the electric chair by sunset." A university student was conducting a thesis interview with an old, retired pirate at a seaside tavern. He couldn't help but stare at the man's rugged appearance. "Sir," the student began, "you have the most incredible scars. How did you lose the leg?" The pirate took a swig of rum and growled. "A cannonball, lad. Took it clean off during a raid in the Caribbean. I've walked on this peg ever since." "Incredible," the student whispered. "And the hand? Was that a shark?" "No," the pirate replied, holding up his gleaming silver hook. "A fierce duel with a Spanish captain. He got the better of me with his cutlass, but I got the better of him with his gold." "And the eye patch?" the student asked. "Was that another legendary battle?" The pirate sighed and looked down. "No, a seagull flew over and dropped a bit of good luck right in me eye." The student blinked, confused. "You lost your eye because of seagull droppings? That doesn't make any sense. Surely that wouldn't cause a permanent injury?" The pirate gritted his teeth and muttered, "It was me first day with the hook." A man was driving down a busy avenue when he noticed a woman in a minivan tailgating him so closely he could see the steam coming off her coffee. She was clearly in a rush, checking her watch and swerving impatiently. As they approached an intersection, the light turned yellow. Doing the responsible thing, the man slowed down and came to a smooth stop at the white line. The woman behind him absolutely lost her mind. She slammed on her brakes, pounded her steering wheel, and laid on the horn for a solid 10 seconds. She was screaming insults and making colorful hand gestures, her face turning a deep shade of purple because she'd missed the light. In the middle of her meltdown, there was a firm tap on her side window. She looked up and saw a police officer with a very serious expression. Before she could say a word, he ordered her out of the car, handcuffed her, and took her down to the station. After 2 hours in a holding cell, the officer returned and unlocked the door. "I'm terribly sorry for the misunderstanding, ma'am," he said, handing back her keys. "You're free to go." The woman was indignant. "I should think so. What on earth was the charge? Is it illegal to be in a hurry?" "Not at all," the officer replied calmly. "It's just that I pulled up behind you while you were hooting the horn, shouting those choice words and gesturing at the man in front of you. Then I saw the Choose Life bumper sticker, the Honk If You Love Jesus sign in the window, and the Christian fish symbol on the trunk." He shrugged and added, "Naturally, I just assumed the car was stolen." One day, a blonde was in a store and saw a sign advertising a huge TV sale. She goes up to the salesman and points to a shelf and says, "I want to buy that TV." The man says, "No." The blonde, assuming it's because he hates blondes, goes home and dyes her hair brown. She goes back to the store and asks again, only to again be told again, "No." She goes home, dyes her hair black, and returns yet again. She asks for the TV and is told, "No, go home, you blonde." So she finally snaps and cries, "I've dyed my hair twice. How the hell do you know I'm blonde?" The salesman replies, "That's a microwave."